Hey, Vertical. It's Jared, your youth pastor. And if you were wondering if your youth pastor is old, you need to look no further than my gray hair and the fact that 2 days ago I threw my back out, so I'm doing this week's deep dive from the couch. So on Sunday, we talked about trusting God, that we trust God to take care of our daily needs, and we're not anxious about that, and we instead focus on the kingdom, on doing God's work in the world. Because if we're not worried about the things that are going on at home, if we're not worried about whether or not there's going to be food on the plate, we're able to do great things in the world. This goes down to, I don't know if you've looked into this or been taught this, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where imagine this pyramid where you need the lower levels taken care of so that you can even have the upper levels of this pyramid. You cannot have a pyramid without a foundation. You cannot have the second level of a pyramid without having the first level. So the lowest level of Maslow's hierarchy of need is security. If you don't feel safe, if you don't feel like your basic needs are taken care of, then you're not able to do great things in this world. So we need to trust God so that we can accomplish things. If we don't trust God to take care of our basic needs, if we don't feel that sense of security that comes from that trust, then we can't accomplish all the things we want in life. We'll constantly be held back by our fear. And this kind of fear goes back as long as there had been people. The Israelites struggled with this, and they turned to idolatry as a result. Idolatry is the worship of other gods, which on the one hand, you're like, well, why would they worship other gods when they knew the one God? Well, God, the one true God, is just the God of the universe, and there's no specifics beyond that. God is the God of everything, but to them, this was a new God. But they knew all of these other old gods, and these other old gods had more specific areas of focus. You would worship these gods for these different areas. So there were gods of grain, there were gods of writing, gods of the underworld, gods of wisdom, gods of reproduction, gods of weather, like the storms, in order to help your crops. There was even a god of physical attractiveness. And the way the system worked is you would worship these gods, you would give them worship in order to get something back, in order to get attractiveness, in order to get good weather for your crops, in order to get reproductive ability. So you would worship these gods in order to receive something in return. But there was no system of worship like that for the one true God. He just asked for our worship, and with these vague instructions that he would take care of us. But he really focused on us helping other people, and they struggled with trusting God for that. So they kept returning to idolatry. They kept turning to worship of other gods rather than trusting God. So I want to ask you, what is it that you are trusting instead of God? Is there something where you know that if you do this, you're going to get something in return, and that's going to take care of your needs, even though God has promised to take care of your needs? For me, it would be really easy for me to think of like, what kind of jobs or what kind of things can I do to make money so that will be taken care of? But God has called me to a specific vocation. God has called me to pastoring. But what if I chose something else that makes more money instead of pastoring? It'd be really tempting to do that. So what is it that God is calling you to do? And is there fear that is stopping you? Are you going down a different route because of fear, because you don't think that your basic needs are going to be taken care of? I promise you that if you obey God and you follow him and obey what he says, your basic needs will be taken care of and so much more. I'll see you on Sunday, and hopefully I will be standing. That would be great. All right, bye.